going to be doing?
Well, all different things. The general idea is different kinds of table centres, but table centres that incorporate what you're going to be serving.
I like that.
For different people.
Because, you know, I'm a real foodie. I love my food.
Yeah, I seem to bring food every week.
I know, I like
it. Keep eating. So what I brought for us today is actually different things you can make different combinations out of, and so different ideas. Certainly these rings which I've prepared earlier.
Yeah, they look great, and
with the foliage. And
look at the colours on that.
This is quite stunning, actually. It's red grevillea.
Grevillea.
Yeah, but
now that must be dyed. We've got some here.
It is actually. They have great big vats of paint, and they dip it in. But actually, do be slightly aware because it comes off on your fingers.
Does it?
Yeah.
I guess with a lot of contact like you would have.
Yeah. Definitely, you have to be very careful, especially if we're in a restaurant or something and there's lots of white cloths.
But it's a real dramatic look, especially if you say you're using it with white cloths, and the contrast. It's a real fiery red, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely stunning. Yeah, and it's I don't know, just because it's got all that length. I think length is so important, and height really to make so much drama.
That's true. How tall are these then?
I don't know. I think they say they're about 6 feet. So
wow,
so 6 to 8 feet.
So then you just chop off or cut off little bits.
And actually this is a little tip. If you start from the bottom and just cut the side branches off, you've still actually got the length of the piece. So that's one way to save money when you're... And then you can still use the long bit afterwards. So what we do is we start with one of these.
Right.
Which is more traditionally known actually for funerals, but I tend to avoid.
Yes, is this kind of like a wreath?
Yes. Yeah. It's exactly the same thing, but they make such a pretty shape that you shouldn't really stick to one certain particular use. This is actually slightly better. It's got an organic kind of biodegradable base.
Really?
These are quite a new thing. But certainly because a lot of the floristry comes from the Netherlands and Germany, they're actually much more eco-sensitive than we are. And so they're developing all different types of bait. Because normally, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're in a plastic tray instead.
Well, that's good to hear then, that we're moving forward like that.
Certainly, yeah.
And there's also little, just little buttony things on the bottom. So is that so we can place it straight onto the table?
Yes, and it keeps it away slightly because this gets a bit damp.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really place it straight onto the table. It is more actually so it doesn't slip around.
Right. So what would you need to put on the table?
Put it onto just a piece of plastic or something.
Okay.
Nothing particularly amazing, just to make sure you protect.
But we've said in the past how much water this actually holds.
It's amazing. Yeah. It really is amazing.
So how do you go from something like that to that?
It's very, very straightforward. We have to soak it in the water, and so you leave it until the air bubbles stop coming out, and then you've got it and it's nice and wet. This is one which you can see is a little bit damp underneath.
Oh,
it's not too bad.
No, but it is quite damp.
And then what I've done here is I've gone round in a pattern, but I can just take a bit out and you can see where the oasis is there.
Yes.
So
have a look at that.
So it's actually quite quick.
Yeah.
You can just whiz around. So there's your oasis.
Yes.
And I've just tended to put all the flowers, all the foliage pointing in the same direction so it makes an even ring.
Yes.
And so that's the base, really.
And again, that's your artistic flair, though, as well, Emma, that I think, perhaps I know for definite I haven't got.
Look, if we put them in the same direction, then it just helps create the shape. You don't want to lose the hole in the middle either. I think even florists tend to do this. When you put so much in that you lose the hole and it takes the whole shape away.
Yes.
What I've brought, working with kind of candles and things.
Oh, now I love candles.
They're really popular, especially as candlelight is so much more flattering.
It is.
I think that's really important.
And romantic.
Yes, so these actually just fit in.
That's great, I love it.
And I've got different shapes and sizes, so the big one there would go into this larger ring.
Really? Now, that looks like a fish bowl.
It is actually,
yes.
I went and got it in the goldfish shop.
Wow.
Because...
Can you put that in? Does that actually fit in?
It would just fit in here.
Ah.
There you go. That's it.
Lovely. Oh, yeah.
So,
and the colours as well on both of these are just amazing because we've got the lovely white or cream, whatever, the candle, and then the green. It's so simple and effective. I love it. And the red of this with the white of the candle is just stunning.
So that was one idea, but using these again, instead of having candles, I was actually thinking you could actually put the goldfish in. It has been done at some wedding receptions. There was a wedding at the Orangery at Blenheim, and we actually had fish in the bowls on the tables and a ring, and we added orange roses and actually some purple, a bit like the Veronica over there.
That's lovely.
To the ring, and that made a really, really unusual table centre.
That's great, isn't it? I would never have thought of that.
It's really good fun. And you can put the odd twig and stick in as well, because the fish aren't affected by it.
That's great.
So that was one of the
So once again, this is the basis of the wreath, and you've put, at an angle again, you've put the leaves all the way around.
And then you could just add a few flowers. I mean, I've got some.
Are there any particular leaves or foliage that we should be using?
Not especially. I would certainly, we tend to use things which are going to last well. A lot of things in the garden will go over. Elderflower is one particular example I can think of. The other thing that you could use at the moment is if you go down the Woodstock Road, you must have seen all the blossom on the trees, which is just coming. And forsythia, which is also in bud. It's the bright yellow, massive, great big twigs and head. If you cut them and place them into boiling water, similar to the roses, it will force the buds to open. And so you've got it will flower early. Magnolia is the same. So if you're just taking things from the garden, then I would suggest those two things.
What a handy tip that is.
And then I've got...
Oh, you were going to put some
instead
roses
of sweets
in, weren't you? Sorry.
Well,
I interrupted you on there.
I was just going to chop them off and put a few in there.
And you've chopped them off quite high, I see.
Yeah, I'm just going to put them into here, actually. So you need to find and pop them right in.
Yeah.
I can't actually see what I'm doing.
Well, you're still doing it a lot better than I could do. Yeah, it's lovely.
So I've tended to space them out evenly.
Yes.
And I was going to put a few berries in as well.
Now, in a recent programme, you said you must use 3, 5, 7, and you used 4 there.
I only had 4, but I would tend to use 5.
Oh, would you?
Yeah,
okay, I'll let you better.
You can do whatever you want, really.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So I was just going to use those for the colour.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking along the lines of what food and things I'm going to serve.
Yes,
at the dinner table.
Match it. Yeah, it looks great.
I can try and stretch over. There we go.
Yeah.
So, what I was thinking is, instead of having a goldfish, you could put your salad in.
Oh,
so
that's a great idea.